Our first award for visual storytelling goes to distinguished journalist Rick Adams, an Emmy nominee with work for his announce this award, so he will be appearing via video and introduced by Scott Warren, the president and general manager of KPIX, KBCW, CBS San Francisco.
This edition of Virtually Rick is a load of garbage.
If you look beneath this tree, you'll see there's the tinder of a wildfire. And as it breaks out, we add a frozen turkey. Boom! The ice in the turkey then is suddenly evaporated. Kaboom!
No! I'm just a vote, just a paper and note.
My ears hurt.
Hey, shut it, kid.
Okay.
The Boeing 747 very large air tanker, then placing the top part next to it.
What?
Driving the little kid inside all of us, ever upward.
When I was first asked to introduce Rick Adams as the Distinguished Journalist, I had to think a minute. Rick Adams, distinguished. So I started thinking back across his career. And this is the guy who started his career pouring slime on children. He intentionally edited gastrointestinal noises into his news pieces. And his humor could sometimes make Benny Hill blush. So I'm thinking, distinguished? At KTLA, we worked together. He came on the show one time to pitch a children's book that he had written and illustrated. And the artwork was silly, and the copy was silly, and it was perfect. It was perfect for kids. You could feel the art, and you can feel the heart pour out on the pages. You knew something was special about Rick Adams. We later worked together at the Weather Channel, and he would go out and do stories on weather events and events affected by weather. And I know that watching Jim Cantori, Rick was a little nervous sometimes, and in fact asked me on several occasions whether I'd take out a larger life insurance policy on him. But what was really great about the work that Rick did at the Weather Channel is he would take complicated stories like sea level rise and climate change. He'd boil them down in the most simple terms, easy to understand without bias. He'd use his humor to hook the audience, but at the end wrap it up in such a thought-provoking way, sometimes it would bring a tear to your eye. We worked together at CNN as well. It was during the time the run-up to the 2016 presidential elections, and all eyes of the world were on America. At the time, Rick was over in Great Britain, and he put together a segment for us called A View from Over There. It was kind of a witty British look at what was going on in American politics. Now, it could have looked snobby, but Rick was able to turn it around, make it self-deprecating, and show that, not all was well within British politics as well. But Rick's best work to date may have come at Spectrum News 1. He combined his talents and his gifts of being a writer, a comedian, a storyteller, a producer, an innovative thinker into one thing that he called Virtually Rick. He would put goggles on, the Oculus goggles, and enter a world that he had created himself to tell stories, to explain concepts. I remember one of the most brilliant segments he did was a tribute to Stan Lee, where he actually walked people through Stan's Marvel world in the most poetic way. It was a tribute that only Rick could do. The segment was a tough sell. Nobody quite understood where he was going or what he was trying to do. So I remember he took his boss into a dark room and put the goggles on him. 20 minutes later, that boss came out. His face was a little ashen, and he said, "All right, you guys can do the segment, but there's only one person in the world that could pull this off, and that's Rick Adams." So when you push back the slime and the silly noises, what you have left is a distinguished career and a distinguished journalist. I'm proud and honored to introduce Rick Adams.
Wow! Thank you so much, Society of Professional Journalists, and being in the company of such extraordinarily talented honorees. Well, I mean, that's just nothing but humbling. And also being distinguished before one is extinguished, well, I suppose that's infinitely preferable. So I just want to say thanks to my former Spectrum News One family in Los Angeles, Eddie, you nutcase, and all the crew, and also the creative geniuses behind the scenes who helped me push the boundaries of virtual reality storytelling. Thanks, Moses, and all the gang. And belief is the thing. Belief in this business is everything, because if someone believes in you, then you are doubly blessed. So thank you to the amazing creative powerhouse and utter genius that is Mr. Scott Warren. He may be a genius, but he still doesn't know the difference between an iPad and a Surface. And I also want to say thanks very much to the friends who've helped imbue me with this powerful sense of understanding and helping me to uncover the talents I didn't know I had. So the amazing Malcolm Bird, John Miller, and also Jack Jason, and many, many other friends who've helped me along the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And belief, not just in yourself, is important, but it's also massively important in facts and in science. And I really hope that in some way my virtual reality explainers have helped contribute to science and understanding and facts rather than add to the noise that's happening in this crazy landscape these days. So finally, though, I just really want to acknowledge the fact that it takes a really massive team to make the things that I make on a daily basis, and without whom I just could not do this on my own. So I just want to say a big, big thank you to Ricardo on camera.
Muchas gracias.
Also Ricola in sound. Oh, it sound good? Yeah, it sounds great. And Rico Suave in editing.
That was rubbish. Can we shoot it again?
No, we don't have time.
What?
And Mr. R on lighting. Oh, that's really good, yeah. Fun. And finally, Rich in accounts.
What? No, Rick, this is too expensive. You have to cut now.
Okay, well, looks like we're going to have to go. So thank you and goodbye.
Cut!